At Living Tree Community Foods, we are devoted to aliveness in the foods we eat, but we dare not remain in our kitchens. The headlines tell us that we've got to go out there and bring the concept of aliveness to our families and our friendships, to our schools and our workplaces, and beyond that to the world out there. And that inevitably brings us face to face with the economy. And by that I mean the production and distribution of useful things. The economy has a pulse, a metabolism, a circulation. There are cycles and rhythms. It has specialized organs, such as the factories, where commodities are produced. There are other organs, such as the financial system and the monetary system. Like our bodies, this living entity is wondrous complex. Its life force is the focused energy of 160 million working Americans. Each day they produce an enormous tide of commodities. The whole is replete with cycles and rhythms. There are even convulsions, expansion and contraction, expansion and contraction, expansion and contraction, going back as far as 1787, and still that entire series of pulses, of rhythms, of cycles. And these are part of the metabolism by which the economy heals itself. Brothers and sisters, the economy is more alive than that green smoothie in your hand. In the Wall Street Journal a few days ago, an article appeared, "Why the Economic Establishment Hates Judy Shelton." She's been nominated for a seat on the Federal Reserve Board of Governors. She's been asking questions that others don't want to hear. For example, why is there so little growth in productivity? This is indeed a good question. Productivity is the ability of working people to produce goods and services. It is the foundation of the world in which we live. Now, according to the textbooks, when interest rates fall, this should stimulate more investment. In other words, people with lower interest rates, entrepreneurs, should be buying new machinery and equipment, and this should result in more productivity. But instead, falling interest rates have created an enormous economic bubble. If money is cheap, why bother with investment? Why bother with the years of toil and aggravation it takes to materialize a new product? Why not just take the easy money and buy stocks, after all, which have nowhere to go but up? Instead of productive investment, we have a mass of speculation. Instead of going into productive equipment, research and development, money has been going into speculative bets on the stock market. It's the bubble economy, my friends. Is it any wonder then that the economy has grown exceedingly slow over the last decade? Growth last year was an anemic 1.2%, the lowest gain since the crisis of 2012-2013. Judy Shelton says, the kind of economic growth that increases living standards all across across all income levels occurs under conditions of monetary and financial stability. True enough. In other words, but she says, we would achieve such stability by going back to a gold standard. Because if there was such a metallic standard, governments would no longer be able to freely use the printing presses. If gold was selling at, for example, if we had a gold standard where fiat money could be turned into gold, say at $34 an ounce or 100 or whatever, governments would be absolutely constrained from just printing money at the touch of a button. When a country adheres to a gold standard, the amount of currency in existence is limited by the supply of gold. Since there's an infinite amount of gold, a country's ability to print a new currency is restricted. Since we came off the gold standard in 1971, the government can print as much money as it likes, whenever it likes. So Judy's advocacy of a gold standard is really against resorting to the printing press. She's right as far as she goes. But remember, there have been 11 major financial depressions or financial panics in this country. And except for the 2007-2009 recession, all occurred under some sort of metallic standard. They happened in 1797, in 1807, in 1815, in 1837, in 1857, in 1873, in 1907, in 1920, and during the Great Depression. Sorry, Judy, but going back to a gold standard will not save us. To ascertain the causes for the economic decline, we have to go deeper. It was America that was at the forefront of the Industrial Revolution. It was America that showed the world how to mass produce everything, from automobiles to television sets to airplanes. But now it is becoming deindustrialized. Tens of thousands of factories have left the United States in the past decade alone. Millions upon millions of manufacturing jobs have been lost in the same time period. America has lost an amazing 32% of its manufacturing jobs. 32% of its manufacturing jobs in the last 20 years. That comes to about 5.5 million jobs lost. Last year, China shipped $5.63 billion worth of goods to America, but purchased only $120 billion of stuff for us. In other words, there's a $443 billion gap. It's ridiculous. We have shifted our manufacturing base to Asia. We have created the biggest debt bubble in the history of the world in an effort to maintain a very high standard of living. But it's unsustainable. Every month, America goes into more debt, and every single month, America gets poorer. We are simultaneously experiencing a stock market bubble, a government debt bubble, a corporate bond bubble, a real estate bubble, and a student loan debt bubble. The growth of total debt in the States is incredible. Over the last 40 years, it has gone from about $2.2 trillion to nearly $60 trillion in debt. Sadly enough, most Americans are living from payday to payday and are continually in debt. They are unprepared. History has shown us that all financial bubbles eventually burst. To my mind, there's no question that a recession is coming. We urge you then to get growing, America. Now is the time to visualize your backyard as a biodynamic vegetable garden, your front yard as an heirloom apple orchard. If you live in an apartment, join a community garden. They will welcome you. Hug the earth, brothers and sisters. It will sustain you. Thank you indeed. Your comments and critique are so much appreciated.